Imagine your parents die when you're young and you go through the early stages of your adolescence feeling like an outcast. Hey you, my name is Jenny, a licensed therapist, and today we're breaking down the Disney movie Elio. There will be spoilers, so please watch at your own risk. So the author describes the movie as a story about childhood and social isolation. Stay until the end to watch my therapist's guide to working with a child dealing with grief. After watching this movie, I've determined that there are 6 important themes, and I'm going to discuss them here. The first one is grief. The movie opens up with Elio and his aunt along with the aunt's co-worker. The aunt is talking to her co-worker about how Elio's parents just passed away. They were both dressed in military uniform. It's also important to note that Elio's aunt gave up her dreams to become an astronaut to care for him. At this time, Elio is under the table and feeling like no one understands him anymore. He ends up running away to a clothes exhibit, lays down, and gazes up at the stars in the sky. He sees outer space and becomes absolutely fascinated with it. And there, the idea of being abducted by aliens begins. Throughout the movie, he could often be found at the beach trying to reach the aliens, coming up with all sorts of gadgets, trying to talk to someone, anyone that will listen and understand. At some point in the movie, he ends up advertising for a club because he's looking for a piece that he does not have to reach the outer space, the aliens. This is where he meets 2 boys, things go awry, and they end up in a fight. This is where Elio's aunt sends him to sleepaway camp. Elio is not happy about this, and the boys are out to get him. They want their revenge since they all got in trouble. So on the first night of camp, of course, the boys are looking for him. They're looking to teach him a lesson. And right as they are about to start pounding on him, the portal opens and everything freezes. Elio is then drafted into the skies. His dream is coming true. He's going to another world. In this time, I'm also wondering, is the outer space Elio is dreaming of somewhere his parents may be? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. So this ends up taking us to the next theme. Belonging. Elio not feeling like he belongs. Elio feeling like his aunt has not learned his language, therefore does not care about him. His aunt always being at work, him eating pizza for dinner alone, night after night. So at this point, Elio is more than ready to meet someone. Anyone that will care for him, he's ready to meet them. As soon as he lands in outer space, he is given a great welcome. They're excited to meet him. He's a candidate. They're calling him the leader from the earth. All positive, all great things. At this point, he's also feeling wanted. He's feeling welcomed. He's feeling like someone's excited to see him. Someone is excited to meet him. So fast forward, he ends up meeting the coordinator of this planet. They make a clone of him because they've decided that, hey, your aunt may miss you back on Earth, so we should definitely clone you so that your aunt has someone to see and they don't notice that you're missing. But of course, things can never be perfect. A villain enters the villa. And this villain's name is Gragon. So at this point, they're like, okay, Elio, I know we said we'd take you as a candidate that we were looking to admit to this planet, but unfortunately, Gragon is here. He's going to take us, and sorry, bye. We can't have you anymore. Good luck next time. But having felt that piece of belonging, Elio's like, not so fast. What can I do? What can I do to become a member? At this time, the community lets Elio know that unfortunately they can no longer consider him as a candidate because they have to go into hiding to protect themselves. Elio is like, oh no, this is so great. I can't let this go. And he volunteers to fight the villain Gragon for him. He's like, oh no, I'm not letting this pass me so easily. Like, I just finally felt welcome. I just finally felt like I belonged. And this takes us to the next theme, the escalation, dealing with bullies and conflict resolution. Before going to confront Gragon, he is all about learning about de-escalation. How can he win this war? This is a huge villain, and he is this little guy just learning about this world. He learns that in de-escalation, you need to try to relate to the person you're de-escalating. He also learns all about negotiation and a bargaining chip. What is that? What does that do? How does that help? How does that help him win the war and stay where he belongs? He writes this all over his hand. He goes to meet with Gragon. Things, of course, don't go well, and Gragon sends him to jail immediately. As he's trying to escape, he ends up meeting with Gragon's son, Glorden. In this time, Glorden and Elio end up bonding over things like, having absent parents. Elio's parents being passed away and deceased. Glorgon's parents, 1, his father not understanding him, and 2, his mother being away at war. Together, they come up with this plan that Glorden would be the bargaining chip, getting him away from his responsibilities and helping Elio stay where he feels that he's comfortable and he belongs and he is wanted. This takes us to the next theme, which is social isolation. I previously mentioned how Glorden and Elio bonded over really not belonging, feeling misunderstood, and also feeling alone. This is one of the biggest reasons why Elio felt the need to go to another galaxy: social isolation. He only felt seen by his parents, and they were no longer here. He didn't feel seen by his aunt, he didn't feel seen by his peers, and he didn't feel seen by anyone on Earth in his perception. So that moment where he bonded with Glorden was so heartwarming to see, because he was finally being accepted. He was finally being seen, which is something he's longed for a really long time. They also bonded over Glorden wanting to remain soft, not putting on that hard shell suit his father put on because he didn't want to. And that takes us to the next theme: communication. Throughout the movie, Elio, a child, did not feel loved. And he didn't feel loved because his aunt was so busy juggling her military career and caring for him at the same time. Caring for a child is something his aunt never saw in her future. She never expected it. So Elio and his aunt never really discussed this transition, what it would look like. This is especially important with children. They need to understand this. Get on their level, use their terms, and make them understand it. Throughout the movie, you could see Elio's aunt reading a book about parenting, but it's like she's reading it, but maybe not utilizing the tools how she should have. This is where I'll bring up that Elio and his aunt could have benefited from a few therapy sessions or a parenting coach. Also, Elio felt like his aunt did not care because she did not learn his language. He didn't know that she could speak his language. But towards the end of the movie, you do see that she does know some of his language, that she is learning it, and that she does understand some things, but she never communicated this with him, so he didn't know. The movie also showed her reading a book about how to raise children, but that one section she was kind of telling him, you read this part, when she got frustrated. And with Glorden, he felt like his father didn't understand him. His father was just like, it's tradition to wear the suit, and you are going to wear the suit, and that's it. There was no communication, no talking, no listening to how he felt about it, no decision for him. He had no choice. This was it. These examples are what caused both Glorden and Elio to confide in each other, two complete strangers. They're like, okay, you understand me. You're going through the same thing I'm going through. And this could be very dangerous if it's not like a Disney Pixar movie where things end well and happily. This could go left. They end up continuing on with their plan for Glorden to be the bargaining chip, and they go over to the other community where Elio was feeling accepted at. Of course, things don't go well because what Elio decided was to make a clone of Glorden, give it back to his father. But when they're leaving, the clone melts out of the suit. And of course, Glorden's father, the villain, is angry. He's very upset about this. And he's like, we're going to find Glorden. As they're looking for Glorden, he's inside a spaceship, he's scared, he's nervous, and he accidentally presses a button that launches him to Earth. And this takes us to the next theme: community and friendship. As Elio lands back on Earth, he lands on the beach where he sees his aunt and the perfect clone. A clone that the aunt has begun to be suspicious about and had tested a hair of that she saw walking around. While the clone is away, Elio and his aunt end up having a really touching moment. And during this time, Glorden lands on Earth on the military base. And at this point, all of the military members are like, we need to figure this out. Keep these people out, only a certain people in. With the help of the clone, Elio and his aunt are able to make it in the spaceship where they find Glorden to be struggling and not acclimating well to Earth. And this is where community comes in. The clone sacrifices himself for the mission. At this point, Elio contacts Bryce, one of the boys who was not happy with him, and they connect him with Gunther, who's able to help them get back onto the Communiverse. With the help of the community, they get back to the Communiverse. Glorden is still having a hard time, so his father goes to take off his suit. The aunt, believing that the father, the villain, is going to attack Elio, she immediately covers Elio to protect him. But it turns out that Glorden's father was just taking off his suit so that he is able to swaddle his son to provide support to help him get back up. You see how when the communities on Earth and on the Communiverse came together, they're able to save Glorden. And this was so cute to watch. It was like, oh. So then Elio gets accepted to the Communiverse and he's very happy, but sees his aunt and decides that he prefers to live on Earth because this is where he belongs. This movie was too cute and gave all of the feels. I would definitely watch it again. So how would I as a therapist work with Elio? Help him process this grief and help him process all the feelings that he's having. What would I do? What would you do? Let me know in the comments. So when working with Elio, a child, it's important to cultivate a safe space. And this is done by actively listening, and actively listening without any judgment, and providing validation. Provide the child with age-appropriate explanations for what's going on. For example, if a loved one passed away of a heart attack, you could tell a child their heart stopped working. It's also important that you, the therapist, understand that the child may have inappropriate responses to a loved one's passing. It's important to teach the child positive ways to cope. How can they cope and ground themselves appropriately and in a positive manner? I mean, look at Elio. He felt unloved. He felt not accepted. He felt like he didn't belong. So he took off to the communiverse. He took off to another place where he bonded with someone. And thankfully, like I mentioned before, it was a positive bond and nothing negative was happening. This can go a totally different way. A child may be grieving and ends up meeting someone, and together they may end up making some terrible decisions that could ruin their lives. Something that you can teach a child is how to journal, do art projects, and of course, learn breathing exercises. It's also important for the child to understand and learn physical things that happens to their bodies when they're feeling certain emotions. Some of the best in-class therapies include play therapy, and this is because play therapy allows children to express their feelings and process their grief through symbolic play. And art therapy. Art therapy is a nonverbal outlet for expression, allowing children to create artwork that reflect their grief and facilitate communication with their therapist. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much. As always, if you're interested, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Bye-bye.